This is SEAK Claus Winkler. This video is an art performance as well as a piece of art on its own and part of my lifetime, long-term art performance, life oeuvre, etc. Doing this video in English, so I'm in Germany or I'm speaking German, speak German and English. Yes, my intention was to talk about all like fun facts. I had on my blog. I used to had a part which is called fun facts, where I started about talking about things which are positive as well as negative about me. Similar to the 8 Mile video with Eminem in the movie 8 Mile. You know, when there's like, here, tell them something and they don't know about me. Yes, we share the same tattoo artist, Mr. Cartoon. He did my arms, both my arms and my back. So, yeah. And SEAK Claus Winkler also suggests, in a way, honesty or presence or maybe also ego death. So let's start with some fun facts regarding my art. I've never watched Netflix in my whole life, not even once. I don't have a television since 25 years. We have now the year 26. I just played Red Dead Redemption one time at a friend's place, but I watched lots of the gameplay videos. I love escapism, but I'm doing the escapism with my art. I smoked weed with a cop in San Francisco while I was painting, and this cop, watched me painting the whole day. At an okay legal wall I hooked up myself, where I painted for a few weeks. In south of Market, Mission Street, big city lights at the corner where the Cheesecake Factory is. I became a really good in a bad way, contact for something which has the color white. It's very expensive all around the world, and it comes from certain areas in South America as well as in World War II. They became it from here in Europe, from Indonesia, a substance from a cop, which was also, now I can't tell you, because then I would compromise him if he's still in, you know. So, but that wasn't here, it was somewhere else. I was guarded by Chinese cops spray painting an illegal painting in Hong Kong, China, in 2000, because I didn't know it was illegal, but they had like this strange law when more than 3 or 4 people are on a street corner, there must be a cop. So we became guarded with AK-47 cops while we were painting there, and they didn't do anything. So I said, okay, let's take it up a notch, and we climbed in the first floor and then bombed the first floor with our tags and everything. And then like years later, like I must say, I have like a colleague in Australia, shout out to Dash. He's like Australian old school graffiti king from down under, international graffiti king, from Asian descent. And I painted with him often here in Germany, and he was with another friend who's also a very important figure in the German illegal graffiti old school, highly respected. Also in terms of opinions on, you know, historic things and stuff, and I don't want to mention because it's illegal here in Germany. We share similar opinions. He's much more bolder, and Anyway, so like this homie from Australia, he knew me as the legal artist colleague. When we were painting trains, I was most of the time, or all the time, I was like sleeping in the car because I was too lazy and stuff. And then he did like a stopover in Hong Kong, maybe also for ancestral reasons, when he was on his way to Australia. And then he was walking through the city. He saw no graffiti. And then he turned around the street downtown Hong Kong. The only illegal graffiti he saw was from me, including like tags like Köln, Hong Kong, la-di-da, and like the first floor on the building. And he was like, he told me that years later, he was like, what the fuck? For him it was like he was like completely, speechless. I love doing things like that. I mean, it's, so, like, I should do that evil laugh from the dog, like, just like, but it's like, it's not you, it's just fun, you know, so, yeah. Yeah, this has beauty. So other fun facts. Problems with my weight, you know. I'm too fat. That's the problem. What else? Fun facts about me. Any fun facts regarding cops? Das muss ich mal think. It's always connected with my art, obviously. I had a train running in Italy for like, I think one and a half year, going from north of Italy to the south of Italy. No idea who painted that train or those trains. Any fun facts? I mean, fun facts. Usually I tell like things which are like allegedly bad about me. I was swapping computer games, illegals cracked and copied and swapped computer games in the 90s in the Amiga scene, in the late 80s, mid 80s, something like that. When I was in occupied by Russia, occupied East Prussia, seeing the homeland, the Heimat, the turf from my ancestors, I saw the only graffiti I saw there was it 1990? Was Metallica, like graffiti under the bridges. That was the only thing I saw there. And I think I tagged in the elevator. Yeah. And I was listening to, anyway. So, what else? I was, something to rally up the anti-rights, the leftoids. I was once driving, how do you call that? Like hitchhiking, hitchhiking here from this area to where I was living in the other village. And one time, and I saw like my driver was an older guy, and he had like I was like 19 or 20, and he had like a star, award star with an iron cross as an exchange symbol for the forbidden symbol, the forbidden fertility symbol from old Europeans, which is also hidden in the NATO symbol, by the way. In case you didn't know, just take a look into the compass needle, and I was like, I knew what this, what the original symbol was. It's like an award, but I didn't look like I'm somebody who knows history and stuff. And I thought, and he had that as a keychain, and I was like asking him why he having the German cross in gold there. This looks like a stolen valor to me. He looked at me. He was like, there was like pride, surprise, hope, astonishment, everything. Like that from a young guy asking him this. And then he told me he became this for being a pilot of an one-man U-boat in World War II, the Deutsche Kreuz in Gold, the German Cross in Gold. So and that was and he was working as an interpreter or language teacher here in my area in an army facility, teaching others German and stuff like that. It was like back then, I mean, history, they were more appreciated from regimental commanders than Knights Cross holders, because they were proving constant bravery and constant courage and valor. Fun fact, my father just told me a few years ago that my great-grandfather received the Iron Cross First Class, Second Class, and the Front Fighter Cross in World War II, and after World War II, in 1960, became Feldwebelleutnant, which is like NCO, non-commissioned officers, lieutenant, which is like an almost officer in wartime because they were running out of lieutenants and stuff, and ensigns and stuff. In World War I. And one reason I think was he did that because he didn't want it, he steered me because I knew how adaptive I am. And he wanted to always have me be more peaceful. And yeah, so, yeah. Fun fact is, I always kept myself out of groups because I learned in elementary school that group loyalty isn't that far fetched, or because I experienced that groups always need one guy who gets all the blame and nobody's helping them. I learned this in elementary school. While I in kindergarten already took influence on my class, my kindergarten colleagues, and were nudging German identity and nationalism, how you want to call it, via Playtoy tanks, because I was like despising the Porsche Turbo supercars, and I was nudging them with German tanks. And then in elementary school I learned how disloyal groups can be, but also I learned about loyalty too. And then in the high school, the disloyal thing I experienced also. So I'm very suspicious on groups and purity spirals, and I tend to be spiraled out of groups. Also because, and this has connected with my name, SEAK Claus Winkler, or with Claus Winkler. You don't need to seek for that. The Claus Winkler is enough, because it drills into the truth. Well, the SEAK maybe amplifies it, and then if you don't fit a narrative, because in groups, this is what AI explained me, people in groups are always trying to pretend like a role and not are in it for the truth. So they're always kind of like try to bring the people out who are not similar and not fulfilling, conform, la-di-da. So this is a weakness as well as a strength. But if your compass are and you're based on is good, and you're based in history and in loyalty, and you understand 3 and 4 and 5D chess and pendulum, yeah, that's a good thing. Because then you can do something for your people. We had, fun fact, we had in kindergarten as well as in elementary school discussions on when do white people will become extinct, and we guessed on 2050. And that we had those conversations without the adults, just among us children, just to give you a glimpse on how far we could think, and show you how low the education and everything is, and the intelligence. And I also became sleepy again from the system. But these are not fun facts. Let's talk about some fun facts regarding my art. I never had really like super high good notes in art in school. I didn't even care, but I was like, was drawing comics and all kinds of paintings when I was in school at home. So I did my own thing. I was like reading lots of books on history, and adventure, and history-based things in school and during my student school time. And then I was too sleepy and disinterested for the regular Unterricht, for the class and stuff. I saw my parents like drinking tea, so I also liked unsugared tea because I identified it as something intelligentsia is doing. When I was looking in Germany, we have like this saying like that the grandfather have like a box full of his wartime memorial uniforms and photos and militaria stuff. And the K-89s are like under the wooden floor, hidden, stuff like that. So when I was, I don't know, 8 years old, I was searching this house for World War II stuff, knowing that we were refugees. So it was like, oh, there must be something, So it's, And I did that like often, and there's nothing here. I mean, there was a Russian prisoner's vest with breadcrumbs in it, which was in the garage, and I think we threw it away then later, which is like, stupid. I mean, I don't want to. This is like weakness there. Plus I kind of like lost the tent poncho, the camo Wehrmacht tent poncho. My grandfather brought back from World War II, from Russia, from prison camp. That's another shameful act I did. So I have to be careful on keeping stuff well preserved or something, because maybe it's a Claus Winkler effect, it drives in all kinds of directions. So who's perfect? What else? Flaws, maybe any flaws. I have a bad handwriting, and then I didn't have a handwriting for many years. And now, because I've started to write lots of letters, I have a handwriting again, which is charismatic, but this is not a fun fact. The fun fact is that I also, I don't know, by these standards these days, I was an NPC and a normie like, 6 years ago. But I was very much into red pill manosphere pickup art stuff. The pickup stuff I learned in 1990 from the LimeWire networks and from 2000 on. And then through that was more hated than political opinions, because they are telling you the truth about females, and that's what both parties can't stand, because you have on both sides of the political spectrum, if you want to think like that, which is already dividing, the Zionists dividing YT in two groups, so divide and conquer, la-di-da. Anyways, the point is that both sides are lying, because they are like thread cucks, traditional cuckolds, but the thing is, the leftists are more like Bolshevik cucks. And then they have like this female fascism against males, which is, there's like a nice website, the website from Handsome Truth. He explains who's behind it with like historic names, and because, of course, subversion. And that the whole subversion thing from certain people, to a degree, I was already aware of when I was in my high school time. strangely. And I also knew about the slave trade, that certain people are behind that, but I forgot that again, you know. And this is a crazy thing, you know, this repetition and like distraction, you can make people sleep in again. That's the huge problem. I was trying to talk about fun facts and about things which are not positive about me or positive about me. I became lots of respect as well as hatred in the graffiti world because my style was so unusual and my technique, and that completely rearranged the positioning of status in the graffiti world. Because it's and it just was for probably a lot of people the ego death, you know. And with the kings in graffiti, you want to fight or you want to paint together, and you can't paint with everybody. Plus, so it's like it can be a super toxic environment. And what I reckoned in Los Angeles when I was there the first times, how polite everybody was talking about everybody, because we were like basically painting with most of the major players or fractions in the city, and they are in between. I guess hardly not talk or interact at all, but everybody wanted to paint with us, and we with them, of course. I mean, respect. That was interesting, and but everybody there also have a gun, and they have like, and there's like, or they had like also tech banging and stuff like that. So there were like some crazy situations. For example, I painted at a wall which a colleague friend, famous, now these days famous. I also showed him my black book, so he's, I can say, also influenced by me. I'm over it. So anyway, I don't want to talk too much about this interaction, keep it like very vague. Anyway, so he told us, told me, this wall, you can have it, it's legal, la-di-da-di-da. And I painted there, and in the end it came up that this wall wasn't legal, and I was there with all my stuff. But I thought it was legal because he told me. And then there was like a priester, like a POC priest, who was a street worker. And he was like, before that he was a street worker, and then he became a priest. And then, blah, blah, blah. And then came like some hoodlums around the corner. And instead of standing next to me, because his thing was on the other side of the street, he disappeared and left me alone there. And they were like, if I'm down with this or that crew. And I was like, no, I'm from, and they came up to me, you know. And then I was like, okay, those guys looked like from the gangster movies. I mean, they behaved like that. I have to tell the story in a way vague enough so nobody can identify themselves later on. So, and they were like doing this like certain like walk and stuff. And it was like, okay, I'm here like a sitting duck. And I was going up to them, and in the most Prussian German officer in World War I or World War II way, I was introducing myself, like literally like putting the back of the feet together with a shake hands, like super formal, introducing myself in the most German way you can imagine. Classical, like telling all the graffiti crews I'm in, where I'm from, la-di-da-di-da-di-da. And they were like, what the fuck? They were like, I mean, there was like worlds colliding and connecting, and and then they asked me if I know this or that crew, and I was like, I heard about this crew, and I met one member of this crew, which was a female, but I thought she was like very arrogant and didn't even I left the car to say hi and stuff, and I have nothing to do. And then they told me that from that crew, someone, I don't want to repeat it, but it was like this involved, and then So, and I was like, wow. And then they moved away. And so I learned, it was like, I managed this risky situation. Like I say, I can't tell you anything about this, and not everything about the situation. And the interesting thing was the priest who was like, chickening out and like leaving me there. And I had the same situation with this time with a white priest in Italy, where me and my homeboy Peter painted a wall he hooked up, and we asked the priest, yeah, everything is okay. We went around to the wall. We pre-primed the wall with transparent primer so that the wall can stay, that the painting will stay. But we don't have to roll the wall with whitewash, which can also, you need pre-primer, like transparent pre-primer. And then came the carabinieri, and they were like, oh, what is going on here? Like after hours of working. And then they asked the priest, and the priest like fall on our back and said, no, they don't know, he doesn't know us, blah-di-da-di-da-di-da. And then they were like putting us away. And we had to leave and stuff, and the priest was falling in our back. And then, the story then continues that I couldn't find my passport. Gladly, I had like another passport with me. Like there's different passports, like passport and ID card, which is in the EU also okay. And then we had to later in the day had to go to the Italian police and carabinieri barracks and made like we're terrorizing them that we want our passport back. And yeah, we gave it to you. No, you didn't give it. They were like very arrogant and stuff like that. And then like a half year later, when I was like cleaning my spray paint duffel bag here in Germany, I found the passport. It was in between the spray cans. So that's so much to Rabbi Yeshua ben Yosef, the Abrahamic triage sandbox, proto-Bolshevism. Plus, there you go about loyalty and everything. And the Iron Cross, I never considered to be like a Christian symbol for something. For me, it was like always on a different level. And I was also obsessed with knights as a child. Like obsessed. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, like, I must be like completely crazy about knights. Any fun facts? Other fun facts? I was going with a pistol into the train yards in the 90s with a Mauser, but Luger 08, which is completely crazy and insane and also dangerous. Both my parents, my grandparents, my grandfathers were party members in the NSDAP. So, but I was never like, oh, this is like, I thought it was like super boring, you know, like, well, okay. It was like, I probably would have been more, I was like, no, where are the war heroes, you know, like, it's like, it's like, but my father, for a reason, was holding back my great-grandfather, because he didn't want me to completely taking this up, and I mean, there's another one, so from World War I, but any other things? Yeah, things like I was obsessed always with forms and with objects and with design and stuff, you know, like all these like cars and vehicles and the character and the personality, all these things are communicating. That was a major thing. It was like reading a book and learning with this. Which is strange because it creates some kind of intelligentsia. When you combine that with books, you have like an education and knowledge and culture and everything which goes like really deep. I don't know. What else? I had in childhood they told me like I have a problem with concentrating and focusing on myself. So I remember that in my 20s and 30s, always having him must hearing this, yeah, he can't focus, he can't concentrate, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the reason for that wasn't like for my brain, it was because my name suggested I should take up hints from my surrounding. So there you go. But this, of course, you can't catalogize this, and plus you probably can read a book about that and about letters and copywriting, but there's nobody to market that. So I came up with this true observation, and then I came up with, okay, then I must deduct letters, words, the letters in words, how it's connected to colors, to sounds. Which is then, that means like if someone tells me a word or something or a sound, I'm deducting that on a very, very deep level. For example, I was watching for many years this book, Unser Jahrhundert im Bild, like Our Century in Pictures. And the German word for picture is build, but build also means like to build something, or invoices. A bill is like in English an invoice and everything. Plus they had like the cover with like the Leibstandarte Adolf Hitler on it, and as well as the Emperor in summer cuirass, as well as like a V2 kind of rocket we already then later built for the Americans. So this book was already, it was like programming me. And now I'm sitting on a mountain of builder of pictures, like photos, painted pictures, everything, which include this energy. This, you deduct it from this, this steers everything. And I can also debunk or deconstruct or analyze or reverse engineer anybody else if I have enough informations or key informations, which, but nobody's listening, or how you can use that. So which has some kind of like a Cassandra effect. Cassandra. Yeah, a lot of the stories, like fun facts, I can't tell because it involves other people. So I have to be respectful. Or respect their privacy too. I have, I think on my my Telegram, I copy pasted those fun facts I had on my blog. So you should go on my Telegram picture channel and then scroll up so you can see those lists of fun facts, and then you can do your own research. I have a natural frequency in my name. When, like, for example, people came up with me with some kind of like guilt cult energy without knowing it, because back then we all believed in the Titanic story, but it was like, I just came up, it's like, yeah, we are guilty for this and for that, and yeah, and we're also guilty, I'm also guilty for the Titanic. And then people were like laughing, or ha ha ha, and nowadays I know, hey, wait a minute, I was already telling them literally where it all started with the taking over of America, when they leveled off the people who were against the takeover of the Federal Reserve Bank, or the creation of the Federal Reserve Bank, was putting them all on the Titanic by certain people. But my attention in the years between and in the 20s, let's say in my 20s, saying this when people were trying to guilt trip somebody or someone or me, wasn't like I knew this and I was trying to give them a hint. It was like my natural way of joking. And this is the SEAK Claus Winkler energy that I'm without, or with just little hints, or with that I'm taking informations from the subconscious, which are obvious, or which I just heard very, very decent somewhere, maybe in a nuance, in a suggestion, or even not even that. I'm just telling this as a joke without knowing, but I'm hitting point blank the truth. But I'm not even conscious and knowing about this. yeah, so the problem is I can't hear. I mean, then now having like a hunch, and that involves other people where I have a good example, but I can't say it because it would be, yeah, and then it would come back to me in a way. So yeah, any fun facts, allegedly positive or negative things about me? I don't know. Never happy with my work, already told that. I like more the work of other people. I don't know. I'm steered by form, and by sounds. For example, now here I did like this burp or this you call that in English when it's like air coming out, but it's like S means like eating, or like it is like a human. Here's a hole and here's a hole, and then this, and this is like also like like oral fixation, like a blunt or like a dildo or like a phallus or like some food or like just a space or like an ellipse which is like exploding itself. Then the violet with the orange, and that triggers like air leaving the body. And then because it's an S, it connects with airs, and air sounds like letting the air out, but also it sounds like connected with ER, air means in German male, so literally like I'm having a penis in my mouth or relieving that or after that. So and then it's like when you're like connected with the word matrix and identify with your thoughts and with everything. I'm really happy that I wasn't part of any large groups or anything, which then try to prohibit your thinking and start like a collective group thinking, because that kind of like kept me away from this like anti-white, anti-German, anti-European, anti-self-preservation energy we have here in West Germany, the West extremes from the American re-education. But even then, because I'm taking myself out of that, all this hysteria had an effect on me, and it took me also some time to wake up out of that. And for this, you have to abandon all the fucks. And I was believing also the victor's lies to a lot of degrees. And someone told me in my childhood if I know what victor's truth mean, but I'd have no clue how far that went. And so fun facts. Fun facts about me I'm now 51 from my life. I don't know, fun facts. Something positive. What does people tell negative about me? Like rumors. Oh yeah, rumors. There were rumors I was sponsored by the city of Cologne in the graffiti world. Lots of rumors. What else? Like all this stuff you can. It's like a. They tell you in any subculture or in any group, the classical like. Acquisitions or accusing people, purity spiraling, any degeneracy. Like degeneracy in the West, I take this as well. Great if the anti-whites, the leftists, the slave moral, anti-white, boomer truth people with their clackers and agitators. It turns against them, I did like judo for like 1 or 2 years. So you use the force of the enemy or the opponent. Mm. Uh, mm. Mm. Any fun facts? I don't know. What does people tell shit about me or positive things about me? I don't know. My work, I love all these like technical, aesthetic, technical, military, or I mean technology, and to a large degree, it all comes from this area of the world and from white people or German people or European people. I love all these aesthetics, but also I also love not just military stuff. Also like, let's say, like, how do you call that? Like a caterpillar, like in Germany say bagger, you know, like someone like with weathering or new from the 60s and 70s. It also has personality, and I love also that, all kinds of stuff. Or like an Unimog from Mercedes-Benz, like from the first ones after the war till like, I don't know, the 90s or something, maybe my 80s. So yeah. For example, this painting here is called Occupied. And that was from the time where I was interpreting everything on a cocaine level. So Occupied is like a SEAK painting, canvas with like with acrylics and oil, and it shows all these like SEAK styles. And because I was trying to do a highlight here and then put a later clear coat over, and this is oil, it kind of like washed away. And if you know about drug culture, there's like a trap for fools, because we have like the easy test. The easy test is like a red liquid, and if you put it in the substance and the substance gets dark blue, it's supposed to be good, though the cutting agents like Les Familles Soleil, which is also in my name, like with the lay and everything, it means that even the allegedly good, pure stuff, like the cutting agents, there's cutting agents which look like the good stuff. So this like easy tester as a fast tester has like a crazy tolerance, which drug dealers then use to fool their customers, la-di-da-di-da. And anyway, and I thought like because of the liberal degenerate, everything has to be cool, and the American thing, you know, cool, snow, cool, you know, and all the C's in my name, la-di-da, and the corruption from the conservatives, which also has a C, la-di-da-di-da. They think about their money, not about their people, their folk. So this is their mission after World War II, that's why they're allowed. It's a Moloch's mill. Anyway, the point is, I was interpreting for many years this as a mask, as a filter, because my name works also with this like SEAK Claus Winkler. And also, you can interpret this also on a cocaine level. Anyway, I was thinking on that frequency, and I called then this painting Occupied. Means like you're occupied with drugs, okay, and then it sounds like also, okay, you pied, in terms of your sperm gets weak, or you make like a pie out of like this testing liquid, the red letter and the white substance, and everything, and this means like everything here is cut, just a little bit of blue, not even real blue, which means you have like a big clumps of like red liquid, which is like slop and not the real product. But on a subconscious level, which I didn't know. It means we are occupied as Germany by communists, by, you know, certain people, Israel, la-di-da-di-da. And the word Kukanese, when my grandmother was assisting the boss of the school, the female boss in the Weimar Republic, in Kukanese, it's like in the east of Germany, in East Prussia, close to the border of Lithuania. In the school for like women to learn how to cook and to hold a household and to work on a farm and stuff like that. And she was being there, the assistant was 16 years old of the chief in the summertime. And this city is called Kukanese, which sounds similar. It means like looking, cucking, as well as coke in a modern contemporary slang, you know, Kukanese. And my subconscious knew all this, and I'm on that frequency. Like say, okay, if you work with spray cans, you're not supposed to work with spray cans. Okay, and Klaus Winkler, Klaus means also to steal. So I'm like doing like graffiti. It's like always everything's kind of like an opposite land. Like the negative is the positive, which also is like the West. You know, the people you can't mention here because they're on YouTube. They created liberalism. You know, they declare anything is good, is bad, and everything bad is good, you know, because we must make everybody the same and no more of people like this, and then everything is okay, you know. Jealousy, you know, just jealousy is one aspect we also eat of. Anyways, the point is, now I'm recognizing, wait a minute, occupied means we are in Germany here occupied, or even the communists are occupied, or I mean they're founded by them. So, and the painting is called Occupied. Yeah, I did also a print series from this painting. And for many years I was interpreting everything on this like cocaine level in terms of communication, just to be cool or to be like edgy and stuff like that. But you couldn't interpret everything also on a political or on a sexual level. In fact, with the coke thing, I was trying to avoid the sexual part and be like on this like triage of double, triple, quadruple communication, where you can interpret everything as you like, you know. For example, what does this mean? I was getting my food from the EBT food bank here in my area and has the same house number, but I just found this out after I painted this on my canvases, you know. Or is this David Eden Lane, you know, the 14 words, you know, what does it mean? Or is it like, hey, certain, you know, there's like this legal age in Germany, which is like, you know, where people can interact with each other, but also if someone wants to get you, or the involved people later on declare like, oh, I'm benefiting now from that it wasn't mutual consent, they can years later decide, oh, it was different, and then you are like effed. So, and this also is also in this ambivalence of the word SEAK Claus Winkler. So you can interpret everything on a multiple level. These are just even like a few things how you can interpret my work. And it goes further and further. And usually people are going with what their horizon is, what their agenda is, what they're most concerned about, what they benefit from, and what feels so good. And even when they're like angry about something, it also is like part of their personality which they want to keep alive and instrumentalize. And even I was falling into the traps of that. So, I mean, yeah, it's part of growth. So, yeah. One reason why I like graffiti was also when I watched the book Spray Can Art and Subway Art, but that was where I was just seeing it in a book. I saw it years before that, my childhood and real life, was because of this like futuristic, perfect computer aesthetic. But before that, I saw it in real life, the spider, spray painted by Kingpin, in black and on black spider on a white background in the Fußgängertunnel, in the tunnel in Brühl, which is now it's gone, but it's essential piece. I mean, it inspired me, it pre-primed me, and I was like always wanted to do what my mother was like carrying me away from there. And then later a train I saw here in Erftstadt, and at the station where I was going to on a Saturday into the city for shopping, but I don't know if I was there with a parent or someone else, probably with someone else, and that must have been also mid-80s, early 80s, something like that. I have a suspicion who painted that, but I can't tell who it was, or because then police could deduct him, but yeah, I'm inspired by him, and we know each other. And he did an interview with me years ago. Yeah, and he's also one reason why my work in a lot of ways looks so unapologetic raw and has this a certain flavor. Yeah, so so why is my work looking so much like childhood toys? One reason is it connects me. I mean, there's the different reasons for the same effect it has, or for the same reason. One is, I'm starting with the thing I learned today on AI after I was breaking through this whole constant lying in NPC low-level NPC frequencies AI is first projecting. It is like the ego death, You are like when you are childhood and you have this presence you had when you were a child, and I want to recreate that. So if you despise my work, you want to keep your adult pseudo persona awake. Maybe, just maybe, you should embrace what I'm doing because it connects you with your pure presence when you were a child. Because this stuff looks like childhood. I mean, this is like you're in your bathtub and playing with like some squishy toy or something, or you play with like certain, like some kind of like preschool Lego or Playmobil or something like that, or or the whole aesthetic is like the simplification. And this brings you into your childhood where you're open for suggestions for everything. And if you can let go of your ego investments, which are just product of a socially engineered anti-white Western world programming, aka culture. I'm talking about the modernity culture. Then you can, you have a chance to become yourself. God forbid. So and the destabilization, people freak out. That's a destabilization, because it's true, and you don't like the destabilization. And then people go after the messenger, But so I'm kind of like it's inner bonding in a way, and so you have to reflect and then give it some time, and then you see how it affects you. And maybe, just maybe, you have to learn history and dig up people like Meinungsverbrechen, or in the Anglosphere there's lots of movies and flyer websites of evil people who are telling the truth, and then you can learn about the real history, not the history the system is promoting because they're benefiting from it, and their whole system is built upon lies, and because your ego invested. So did I already mention that my name, because of the letters in my name, which is connected to a certain color combination, can steer a certain level of NPC reflexes. So I'm not an asshole. If I wouldn't tell you that. So I'm telling you, you have nothing to do nothing, of course, but if you are smart, and those people who steer you, or if you want to steer other people, because you are one of the good people, We have a term here in German called Gutmenschen, you better, of course they get money for that, but then they're like the good people. You have to consider that my name, because of the colors and the letters, yes, it's all connected, steers systematic thinking or not thinking. It appears like thinking, but it just affects and reflexes. And then you behave like apes, like ooh, 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 ah, or this is even when there's no F involved, So anyway, you have to dig deeper, and then you have the chance to reprogram or you build yourself on your own and be completely honest. So I thought I should tell something about fun facts about me. So let's. The problem is I'm almost steering here into telling the same things about me, which is kind of boring. So maybe I should start with telling things about me which are negative. Maybe from there I'm coming to like telling something interesting. So what is negative about me? I'm not cleaning my house, my rooms. I rarely clean my house and my rooms. I'm like, I'm masturbating too much. I should, which I will, must breed with probably multiple German women making lots of German babies, because you guys, the people from the system and the anti-whites and the leftists and the NPCs and the people who steer the narrative and are in control, you guys need a few years also, a few people who are evil, and bad. Someone has to be guilty, and I'm helping with that and producing more future guilty people. So it's like an NPC way of giving them a mirror or countering them on all kinds of levels. What is also bad about me? Maybe I'm just efficient. I don't know. What is bad about me? What are my weaknesses? My weaknesses used to be homemade cake and homemade bakery stuff, especially with nuts and cherries or prunes, plums. Those like aubergine, not aubergine, but like this, like pflaumen. Or cherries with nuts, like pancakes. Not American pancakes. This is like, I don't know. This is not pancakes. I mean, yeast. You can put like yeast inside, or at least nuts and almonds and stuff. And they must be more wet, and yeah. Also like cherry cake with crumble, lots of cherries. Yes. Those are weaknesses. Or milkshakes or chocolate shakes or vanilla shakes, or shakes in any form are weaknesses. I think ball pens are stupid, because when I sign something with a ball pen bleaches out over like 50, 60, 80 years, and then it's kind of like, I don't know, it would be better to sign something with an ink pen. I don't know, but it's not a weakness. I have the belief that you can turn weaknesses into strength, and it's a matter of perception. I have phases where I'm into something, and then it kind of takes control on me. Like, for example, an espresso machine becomes like a significant central point with the ritual itself. But then if the espresso machine is broken, I can switch to regular filter coffee and enjoy the simplicity there. And it has a totally different vibe, So, yeah, then that's also okay. So everything let's say if I have like everything I can use and reframe it as a chance, similar to this Chinese thing with a chance, and every crisis is a chance into something positive. And this I learned in having not abundance, or in an abundance of creativity, or an abundance of occupying myself with myself. For example, when I was with my parents going on holiday, say in the North Sea, and then it was like raining, and we were behind the dike, and like a little pension, like a family pension, with like with a roof which like the thick, not thick but thick reed. That's how they have like a certain way of doing roofs with like stuff which is growing in the marsh area around the seaside. And it was like raining. My parents were, oh my God, what should we do with him? Now he's like bored, la-di-da. And I was like sitting there putting my stuff together, and was like sketching and drawing, and just being occupied. And then literally with the act, I told this also in another video, like the drawing means like also like malen, painting. So I was like suggesting my father to connect with my mom, la-di-da-di-da. So in a way, also everything with its connotations suggests something to the surrounding, and has its own kind of like wit or wittiness. Yeah. When I was a child, I was like demanding from my parents to go to museums all the time, all kinds of museums. Usually history, yeah, military, technical, yeah, yeah, that was ships, technical stuff, military, German, historic, obsessed. Yeah, so, and I love the smell of the oil of the old machines and stuff like that. That's, yeah. Yeah, sex. I had lots of sex in the whorehouses here in Germany or all around the world. I would say with all kinds of ethnicities. This is like for the thread cucks or the right-wing people maybe checking out my video. Shout out to HT, the king of WP, to Martin Sellner, to everybody I'm supporting. I'm supporting anybody everybody is supporting the left wing and the anti-rights, and somebody has to cheer for the underdog. So I'm doing what I'm doing since being an artist. I support also the other side, and I'm supporting anybody who is like right-wing pro-white. And if you can also frame it as I'm an artist and I'm doing art, and that shows it's literally the shadow of the left wing. You know, the classical left wing in itself is like the guy who opens the gates to raise up in the ranks and be the good guy, and is like trading on its own people. You know, that's the essence of the leftist. So yeah, and they have a shadow, you know, obviously, and I'm supporting the shadow. You can tell it like this. I have to be a little bit careful here because, you know, people are, you know. So anyway, what I wanted to say. So yeah, and I was like doing lots of prostitutes or sex workers, how you want to call it, all kinds of ethnicities. But I've never considered having children with other ethnicities. But I never considered even children, or not having children. My horizon, and that was like, goes beyond being an NPC, was just onto having sex, which is lust. That's it. Completely retard, like retard maxing. I mean, I can talk smart and everything, but in this way I was like completely, yeah, maybe a product, like the prototype product of liberalism. But I also knew who was Arminius, you know, who then led the Romans into the Teutoburg forest. Or generally, peace be upon him, my Lord and Savior, General Nathan Bedford Forrest, peace be upon him. Or I'm AP Hill, always somewhere else with his cavalry. Yeah. I mean, this is like painting, it's like doing your own thing, it's like being in your childhood room and you're playing and doing your stuff and creating your own world. But then I'm also steering people. I have like a memory. I mean, I can really deduct how my effect on the matrix is that I do something, I project something, and others then take up that energy. And I have memories from my high school, childhood, or kindergarten years, where I know now that I don't want to go here now into the depth because it's would be too much for the people, and because of informations. Yeah, so no, this video is now, was supposed to be a video about fun facts and things I'm uncomfortable weaknesses or things I shouldn't tell because people use that against me. But maybe I'm just doing Sun Tzu, the art of war, pretending to be weak, giving you play cards. I mean, those who want to do something bad, they take it up, and then they're doing exactly what we want. I don't know. It's I'm protected by Odin, and in retrospective, I mean, maybe it's Odin, maybe it's the Norns, maybe it's both the Norn sisters, and I realized the pattern that people who go against me, they already subconsciously know something, what will happen in their life, and they're urging for that. If they're not act in reason, and I don't know, evil is already like this Abrahamic triage, this is it's just by any means necessary and clarity. So and there's certain patterns from people who hire me or support me or collect me, which my name suggests already from when I'm rededucting that they already know something, what's happening in their life, what's going on, and they're already on a certain path. And that path doesn't have to be to connect, they have to be my path, it's just their path. And yesterday I spoke with, it's like pattern recognition. And this is something which interests me. So I'm collecting stories and experiences from people who are connected with my art and how their life was and how my name and my work on an obviously indirect level steered them. And this, they can maybe talk, this and that, and then I'm listening to other things interesting, there's the pattern. So this is something which interests me. And it has something to do with the sublime, with the indirect. Anyway, so, I hope this was some kind of use to you and interesting. You enjoyed it. I'll maybe later have another topic, and I'm filming this in another style. So thanks for watching, supporting, collecting, etc., etc.